Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there? Or maybe you've opened the fridge and stared blankly, wondering what you were looking for. You're not alone. We all laugh it off, calling it a senior moment. But deep down there's a quiet worry. Is this just aging or something more? If you've had those thoughts, I want you to know something important. Memory lapses aren't always just a natural part of getting older. Sometimes they're gentle warning signs, signals from your brain that it's not getting what it needs, or worse, that it's being harmed in ways we often overlook. You see, as we age, we become more aware of our health, our bones, our hearts, our joints. But there's one part of our body we don't always prioritize the same way, even though it's arguably the most important: our brain. The very center of who we are, our thoughts, our memories, our stories. It deserves protection, especially now. Here's the surprising part. Some of the most common foods in our kitchens, in our daily diets, could be quietly damaging that very organ. Foods we've trusted for years, foods we grew up with, and I'm not talking about rare or exotic ingredients. You'll likely find at least one of them in your home right now. Today, we're going to gently peel back the layers, not to scare you, but to empower you. Because once you understand what to look out for and what to choose instead, you'll be able to make simple, practical shifts that can protect your memory, boost your mental clarity, and maybe even slow down the hands of time a little. So let's talk about the first hidden culprit, and I'll give you a hint. It's sweet, comforting, and dangerously common. Yes, sugar, but not just the kind in candy or cake. We're talking about added sugars that sneak their way into everything from cereals to salad dressings. Even that healthy granola bar you grabbed on your walk last week could be packed with it. Sugar is tricky. It gives you a quick burst of energy, and for a moment, you feel great. But it's like lighting a match. You get that flicker of warmth, and then it burns out fast. Over time, high sugar intake can lead to inflammation in the brain, damaging important neurons that affect memory and focus. Some researchers even call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because of how strongly sugar impacts brain health. But don't worry, you don't have to give up sweetness altogether. Nature gave us its own form of dessert. Fruit. Think berries, especially blueberries, which are like little soldiers for your brain. They're full of antioxidants that protect against oxidative stress, one of the brain's biggest enemies. Add a handful to your breakfast, or blend them into a smoothie. It's a sweet fix without the brain fog. Now, let's turn to another sneaky offender: refined carbs. You know, the soft white bread that practically melts in your mouth. The crackers you nibble on with your afternoon tea. These foods turn into sugar almost instantly once they hit your bloodstream, creating a sugar spike that your brain doesn't appreciate. They can leave you feeling foggy, tired, and forgetful. When you constantly feed your body simple carbs, your insulin levels surge. And those surges affect not just your energy, but also your brain's ability to function properly. Inflammation creeps in, and over time, the signals your brain sends and receives get weaker, slower, and fuzzier. It's like trying to make a phone call with static in the line. But there's a better way. Swap the white bread for whole grain or sprouted varieties. Add in complex carbs like oats, quinoa, and brown rice. These release their energy slowly and steadily, giving your brain the fuel it needs without the crash. It's like giving your mind a steady flame instead of a match that fizzles out. One simple trick: try starting your day with a warm bowl of oatmeal topped with cinnamon and chopped walnuts. It's comforting, filling, and packed with brain-boosting nutrients, fiber, omega-3s, and plant-based antioxidants. It's a breakfast your body and your memory will thank you for. Now, before we move forward, I want you to pause and think. How many times this week have you had a slice of white toast or grab something sweet with your coffee? It's okay. This isn't about guilt. This is about awareness, because awareness is the first step toward change, and change doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful. Sometimes it's as simple as switching the bread in your sandwich, or reaching for fruit instead of a cookie. These little shifts, made consistently, can help protect the very thing that holds all your memories, your conversations, your laughter, your legacy. And let me be clear, you don't need to follow some strict diet or give up every pleasure to protect your brain. You just need to make wiser choices gently and gradually, because after 60, every choice we make carries a little more weight and a lot more power. Just imagine waking up with a clearer. So far, we've talked about how sugar and refined carbs can quietly chip away at your brain's sharpness. But there's another sneaky culprit that's often hiding in plain sight. Something many of us have trusted for years, even thinking it was healthy. I'm talking about vegetable oils. Yes, the kind you might use every day for cooking. It might come as a surprise. After all, they're called vegetable oils, which sounds innocent enough. But oils like soybean, corn, canola, and sunflower are actually highly processed and rich in omega-6 fatty acids. And while we do need a small amount of omega-6 in our diets, the modern balance is way off. We're getting too much omega-6 and not nearly enough omega-3, and that imbalance triggers inflammation throughout the body, including in your brain. Chronic inflammation can weaken your brain's defenses over time. It can slow down the way your neurons talk to each other, making it harder to remember names, process thoughts, or stay mentally alert. If you've ever felt a sort of mental heaviness or sluggishness that you couldn't quite explain, it could be inflammation at work. Now, here's the good news. There are better options, and they're delicious. Extra virgin olive oil, for example, is full of brain-friendly antioxidants and healthy fats that support cognitive function. Just a drizzle on your veggies, a spoonful in your salad dressing, or a touch in your sauté pan can make a big difference. Another superstar. Avocados. Not only are they a great source of healthy fats, but they're also packed with vitamin E, which has been linked to a lower risk of cognitive decline. Try spreading avocado on whole grain toast or adding slices to your salads. You'll be feeding your brain what it really needs, and you'll feel fuller, more satisfied, and more energetic too. It's not about fearing fat, it's about choosing the right kind. Your brain is nearly 60% fat by weight. It needs good fats to function well. So next time you reach for that bottle of generic cooking oil, consider swapping it out for something your brain will actually love. Now let's move on to something that might be sitting in your pantry right now. Processed foods loaded with artificial additives. Think microwave dinners, flavored chips, prepackaged snacks, or even those low-fat options that claim to be healthy. These products are often full of artificial colors, preservatives, and chemicals that your body, and especially your brain, just doesn't know what to do with. Your brain craves natural, clean fuel. When it gets hit with chemical ingredients it doesn't recognize, it reacts by sending stress signals throughout your nervous system. Over time, this kind of chemical overload can lead to brain fog, anxiety, fatigue, and even mood swings. And if you're already managing the natural changes of aging, the last thing you need is food making things harder. But here's the beautiful part. When you start eating real food, whole food, your body knows exactly what to do. Your brain lights up. It gets the vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats it needs to support memory, focus, and mood. You start to feel clearer, more balanced, and more like yourself. Try this. Next time you're craving a snack, skip the packaged chips or cookies and go for a handful of nuts, like almonds or walnuts. Walnuts, in particular, even look like tiny brains, and they're packed with omega-3s, antioxidants, and vitamin E. Or try air-popped popcorn with a sprinkle of turmeric or cinnamon for flavor. It's satisfying, crunchy, and brain-friendly. And when it comes to meals, think about preparing simple dishes with fresh ingredients. Things like baked salmon with roasted vegetables or a hearty soup with lentils and leafy greens. These meals don't have to be complicated. Often the simplest recipes are the most nourishing for both the body and the mind. Now there's one more food group we need to talk about, and it's a bit of a heartbreaker for many people, because it includes some of the things we often turn to for comfort: processed meats. Sausages, bacon, deli slices, hot dogs. These meats are usually high in sodium, nitrates, and preservatives that have been linked to inflammation and even neurodegenerative diseases. I know a slice of ham in your sandwich or a little bacon at breakfast can feel like a treat, and I'm not here to take away your joy. But when consumed regularly, these meats may be quietly harming your brain over time. The nitrates used in processing them have been shown to negatively affect blood flow to the brain, and poor blood flow means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reaching those all-important neurons. So what can you do instead? Choose lean, unprocessed proteins like grilled chicken, turkey, or plant-based options like lentils, beans, and tofu. And if you enjoy a meat-based meal, try to make it an occasional treat rather than a daily habit. Your brain will thank you when you begin to shift your focus toward foods that support. Now that we've peeled away some of the layers and brought awareness to these hidden troublemakers, sugar, refined carbs, vegetable oils, processed foods, and processed meats, there's one more silent saboteur we need to talk about, and this one might surprise you the most. It's not a food in the traditional sense, but it's something many of us consume daily, even proudly. I'm talking about diet sodas and artificial sweeteners. Yes, I know, it feels like the smarter choice. No sugar, no calories. What could go wrong, right? That can of diet soda with your lunch, or that little pink or blue packet stirred into your morning tea might feel like a healthier option. But here's what's really happening under the surface. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin may confuse the brain. They send signals that say sweetness is coming, but the body doesn't receive the calories it expects. This disconnect can mess with your metabolism and even increase sugar cravings later on. Worse, some studies suggest that long-term use of artificial sweeteners may be linked to mood disorders, headaches, and even a higher risk of stroke and dementia. It's like giving your brain a puzzle it can't solve, and after a while, that confusion can take a toll. So what's the better path forward? First, if you love a fizzy drink, try sparkling water with a splash of lemon or berries. It's refreshing, hydrating, and doesn't come with any of the brain-fogging side effects. If you like sweetness in your tea or coffee, consider natural alternatives like stevia or even a small touch of raw honey or maple syrup, used sparingly and mindfully. Hydration itself is also a brain booster we don't talk about enough. Even mild dehydration can affect your concentration, mood, and memory. So often we reach for caffeine when we're tired, when what we really need is water. Keeping a glass nearby throughout the day can do wonders, and if plain water feels boring, just add a few cucumber slices or mint leaves to make it more appealing. The brain thrives on clarity, consistency, and care, and all of that begins with how we nourish it. Now, let's take a moment to step back and reflect. I know this might feel like a lot. Maybe you've realized that some of these foods, processed meats, sugary snacks, white bread, those cooking oils, have been regulars in your life for years, maybe decades, and now you're wondering, have I been doing damage without even knowing it? Here's what I want to say to you from one heart to another. It's never too late, truly. The human brain is a miraculous organ. Even after 60, 70, 80, it continues to grow, adapt, and heal. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, and it means your brain can create new connections and strengthen existing ones no matter your age. But it needs your help. Every small change you make today sends a message to your brain. I'm taking care of you. I'm paying attention. I want to stay sharp. Stay present. Stay joyful. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Just start with one swap. Maybe you replace that morning toast with whole grain. Maybe you toss out the old vegetable oil and bring home a bottle of olive oil instead. Maybe you reach for a handful of walnuts instead of crackers. That's it. One shift, one act of love for your brain, and you will begin to notice changes. Maybe your thinking feels a little quicker. Your memory doesn't fumble as often. Your mood steadies. You feel clearer, calmer, more you. That's the power of feeding your brain what it truly needs. We often think of aging as a slow fading of who we were, but I believe it can also be a blooming into who we really are, wiser, more grounded, more free. And when your brain is supported, when it's not fighting off inflammation or struggling to process chemical overload, you can truly enjoy the richness of this stage in life. So what have we really done here today? We've looked with open eyes and kind hearts at the foods that may have snuck their way into our routines, foods that, without our knowing, were making our minds a little slower, our memories a little foggier, and we've also seen the path forward, a path filled with real nourishing food that feeds the brain and the soul. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you experienced any of the things we talked about? Brain fog, forgetfulness, mood changes. Or have you already made changes to your diet that helped you feel clearer and more vibrant? Share your story in the comments. I read them, and I promise you, others will find comfort in your voice too. And if this video helped you even just a little, please give it a like. Hit that subscribe button because I'll be here with more videos to help you feel your best, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. You are not alone on this journey. You are not too old to grow or improve. You are not past the point of healing. In fact, you are exactly where you need to be, right here, right now.